I want to show you how quickly you can get started blogging for SEO on your website. And in this video, I'm going to go through the 3 steps that it takes to easily get started and get your website to rank. So we're going to break this down into 3 steps that will help you to go from understanding what keywords you want to rank for, how to structure those blog posts on your website, and what you do to move forward and build momentum. Now, the first thing to consider before we jump into it is, do you want to create a blog or more of a newsletter? Are you looking to gain virality with your content, or do you want evergreen content that's going to live on your website, bring in new leads, and bring in new traffic from people that don't already know who you are? This is the main difference from blogging for SEO versus trying to create more of a viral type of blog with headlines that would capture a lot more attention than be specific to the keywords that you really want to rank for. So a blog that you want to rank for certain keywords is best suited to live on your website so that your website can gain more organic traffic through search and through other platforms when people perhaps share your content, but that's not the main intention. The main focus is that you're creating the content that's going to rank when somebody types a search into Google or any other search engine. That's what blogging for SEO is all about, rather than trying to create viral content, in which case you may want to build more of a newsletter, have it live somewhere like on Substack or another platform where there's some built-in mechanisms that will help it to gain virality or reach through the algorithms on those platforms. The other thing that newsletters are better suited for is if you're trying to create pieces that are more timely, you want to reach out to your audience every single week, or you want to directly hit their inbox and send them out emails. That's where a newsletter is better suited than blogging these days. So if you've decided which is the right direction for you and you want to move forward with creating more SEO content that's going to help your website to rank better and to get those leads continuously through your content that you post on your website, let's jump into the first step. So in the first step, what we want to do is focus on which keywords are we going to emphasize initially. Now, there's a couple of different ways we go about doing this. The first thing is that we need to do some keyword research or SEO research. And when I got started with trying to understand how to rank better, the idea of keywords kind of threw me off, but really think about keywords as phrases or words that are specifically going to be used by your audience. I was helping my friend Josh with this the other day, and we were looking at personal trainers in Victoria. That's where he lives, and he is more of a health coach or a human optimization coach than a personal trainer, but nobody's searching for those terms. That's where it's more important to look at what is the actual term somebody's looking for. And whenever possible, local SEO matters. So content related to where you are located is going to help you initially, because you can start smaller with a lower search volume term and get ranking much sooner than if you try to go after something that's a much larger search volume. When you're small, you don't have the power on your website in order to compete with those heavy hitters, those bigger websites that already have a lot more power to rank for pieces. So I like to use something called Keywords Everywhere in order to do this SEO research. It is a Chrome plugin that will show you the search volume for different keywords on Google as well as on YouTube. So if you're trying to create content on YouTube that you want to rank, you can use almost the exact same process. And the structure, when we get into talking about blog post structure, is also very similar to how you'd want to structure your content for creating videos on YouTube. But there's a lot of great features with keywords everywhere. And I found once I got the hang of it and knowing which keywords to search for, there's a lot of options around searching for longer tail keywords. So that means a smaller search volume typically based off of that main focused keyword that you started with. So if it was something like personal trainers in Victoria, it may be like you would find the long tail keywords may end up being something like at home trainers. The exact keywords will show up when you are using something like Keywords Everywhere. It'll show up right on the Google page. Or if you're using a different app like SEMrush, you can use those dashboards in order to do like long tail keyword research as well. And that'll give you an idea on what to start with. And always start small. In the 10 to 1,000 search volume per month is what I find is kind of the sweet spot to get started with. If you try to go for search volume much higher than that, there's a lot more competition typically, unless you get really lucky, and you don't have the power if your website is new in order to really rank for something bigger than that. And that's again where usually a local search term. So if you're searching something like copywriting in Peterborough, this is a website, my marketing website actually, that I launched last month and is already ranking. And there is some search volume. So it's not a zero search volume, which is great to see. But this is a first page ranking for a website that is less than a month old now, that ideally is going to start getting me more traffic towards my marketing website and the agency that I run there. So local really matters. When you can tap into a keyword around your location and whatever it is that you do, it's going to not only have a smaller search volume than overall, if you're just trying to compete against copywriting agency, we can see what it looks like. The search volume is much higher, but it's going to also be much more difficult to rank for that. Now, the one advantage you can also have is leveraging the Google business profile, because that's going to show up with any location-based searches, which something even like a copywriting agency, but especially one with the location in mind, you will then be able to show up earlier with your Google business profile, which is also something that we did for Josh with his personal trainers, so that he would show up when people search, he'd show up on Google Maps as well. So local keywords often land in that sweet spot. Now, what do we want to do with our content in order to structure it so that it works best for the search terms? Now, something that's important to consider with your blog post structure is how you are structuring those headings, especially the H1. So there should only be one of these on your blog post. The H1 is basically what your title is going to be. Now, if you're writing more of a newsletter style or viral post, there's a different type of heading that works best for those, that hooks attention and is more captivating. Typically, when we're trying to write content for SEO blogs, we need to have it be interesting and something that people want to read. But there's a fine line between that and using those specific keywords often is more important than having a very catchy sort of heading, at least for that introduction and the start of the blog post. So what you would see, like with this page, the other thing to keep in mind with having the type of search engine result page, as they call it, the SERP, make sure that the content that you're creating is in line with what people expect to find when they land on that search engine result page. So if people are looking for copywriting in Peterborough, they're expecting a landing page for a service of copywriting. So if you design a page that looks totally different from that, it's not necessarily going to rank because it's not what people are looking for. A good example of this would be with a client of mine that we got to the top search for academic lab websites within a month of posting this piece. And this is 1,000 search volume a month piece or search term that they're already the top ranking for. When people are looking for lab websites, they want to find inspiration for their own lab's website. So that's where we put together this post that is more of a listicle style of the best lab websites and examples. And this is already ranking at the top of Google and bringing in new leads and tons more traffic to their website, all within a month of posting it. And a couple of months, it's already skyrocketing. So keep in mind what people are searching for and what they want and expect to find on the first page when they search those terms. If it's a personal trainer in Victoria, they're expecting to find the landing pages or the sales pages to promote personal trainer, or maybe a listicle again of the best personal trainers in Victoria, BC. And that's something that we got Josh to work on, is creating a blog post around that so that he's listing and promoting himself as one of those personal trainers in Victoria, BC when somebody goes to that landing page. So keep in mind that that is what you want the first heading to be. And then as much as possible, make use of the search terms or be creative in the H2s. So the second layer of headings would be something that you'd want to not necessarily just repeat constantly the exact same thing, but be slightly different when you are trying to stand out on your page. So, you would maybe have copywriting in some of the other H2s, but you definitely want that H1 to be what people are searching for in terms of that heading. And so you'll see the structure then looks like having that H1 that's very clear and no more H1 headings from there as well. Now, a few other things to keep in mind with the blog post structure, where you want to have just one H1 as well, the H2s. You may have more H3s in there too, as sort of those subtopics or those subsections. It all depends on what the piece of content is and how long you need to make it in order to help it stand out as what people are searching for when they search that term. But you can structure it that way, and then always make sure, because you're trying to lead them somewhere, make sure that there's a good call to action at the end of the blog post. So, with somebody that may be looking to have a lab website done for them, you want to have a clear call to action at the end of the post about how you want them to make that next move. If it's something like a copywriting service, it would make sense to get started today and have that next step, book a consult or schedule an appointment to meet, or even if you've got a longer form sales page, to have the buy now button right at the end of it, depending on what you are ranking for. So this takes some time, especially when you're getting started, to figure out which keywords you're going to be able to rank for initially. And then what you want to do is double down on those keywords that you start to gain traction on, create some more ideas around those, and create those posts as well. Not necessarily to rank for the exact same keyword, because that can sometimes interfere with the results of your initial success, but those long tail keywords that you find as well and other things. So focus on the cluster that works and cover those keywords. And at the end of the day, you just need to get started making pieces of content and being sensible around what are those headings that are going to resonate with the search term that somebody is using when they search for that piece of content. So if you want help with this, you can DM me, send me an email, or go to my website and contact me through there. Make sure that even if you are not ready to take action, or you want to go and try and do this for yourself first, Subscribe to this channel for more battle-tested marketing, and I'm going to continue to show you everything that I know about marketing for small businesses so that you can start to get the results that you want for yours.